Hello, and welcome to The Rare Agent, where we pull back the curtain on all things real estate. We're your hosts, Jennifer, Christina, and Kelly, offering up a judgment-free space for collaboration over competition always. Hello, ladies. How are we doing today?
We're doing good. You nailed your intro, so we're off to a fabulous start today.
I do repeat it. I repeat it all the way from the 401 when I enter the 401 to when I get here so that I nail it every time.
Preparation is key.
Thanks, girls.
I'm very excited. I'm so glad that's your job.
So, what is happening in everybody's world this week? We have had a very, very busy couple of weeks in the real estate world, and I know that every single one of us is in a different place when it comes to what's happening with our clients and the market. So, what's been happening like in your world? Kelly, you want to start us off? Or no, let's go to Christina. Christina, you recently sold something. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how that went down?
So it's been this listing that I sold just recently, the temperament behind it, the anticipation, everybody talking about it, or even like the buyer agents that are coming through. It was such a different experience than I was feeling pre this like last 3-4 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I would say that, I always I always try to bring out product that's staged, really nice, like properly marketed. And even in the fall or late winter, all those tactics, you still had to do them, but it wasn't even like,
it took time.
It took a lot more time. Whereas this, I found that first day, multiple showings, multiple calls with asking if I would take a bully offer,
Wow.
which it doesn't take long for sellers to all of a sudden feel like they're back, like they can expect the world.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
It does not take much. Like sellers I was having later in the year last year were just like, okay, Christina, we just want a good price.
Mm-hmm.
We want to sell. We want a reasonable closing. We don't want to sit on the market too long.
Yes.
2 weeks was nail biting for a lot of people, like just because it disrupts your life so much.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, I can see it. Buyers are very aggressive. They were all prepared.
Yeah.
All the multiple offers that came, they all came in condition free. They all had the status certificate read. Like they were not playing around, checks in hand, which is a very different temperament than I was experiencing.
How many people actually did have the checks in hand?
I had 5 offers, 4 had checks.
That's impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
People came to play.
I've been
Yeah.
having that chat with buyers lately. Because it's so low inventory and it's so competitive, you got to do everything you can to stand out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like I won in multiples recently because we had a check and the other offer didn't.
Yeah. So
And
it makes
that was
difference.
like, it was just, something so simple that was, yes, it takes time because the buyer complained to me saying, I was in the lineup for 2 hours to grab this check. And I said, okay, normally that's a good thing because a lot of those buyers that maybe have lost a few times are now just like, I'm not going to go get a check.
Mm-hmm.
If I win, I win. But, it really benefited us being able to get a check. Like it was smart.
100%.
So I always tell people, just get the check. Like I just need a picture. If we win,
Yes.
I'm coming to get the check. There's no questions asked.
Was the offer you accepted one that brought a check?
Yes.
Ah.
And I met them that night to pick up the check,
Very nice.
which was,
And did you find that the people that didn't bring the check, that one offer that didn't, were they a lower offer or were they still a competitive offer?
you know what? They were the lowest.
That's interesting.
See, but no, it's interesting, but is it? Because it means that the people who came to play and who were coming to win
Mhm.
did it with the price and with that deposit check. Whereas I find the people that come in that are
And
just
they're
like,
just
oh,
try.
I'm just going to try. I'm just going to see
They
what
don't wanna
happens.
make that commitment.
Mhm.
It's always them that ends up being kind of on the lower side of things, right?
Well, yeah, for sure. When I called the agent back, because everybody was really like, and another thing that it wasn't, everybody was around the same price. Like no one was blowing anyone out of the water where there was a clear winner. So, like multiple offers we send everybody back and say, okay, what are you going to wake up tomorrow with? Like wake up tomorrow and say like, I've done my best.
Mhm.
Like that's kind of the advice I was giving to the agents. Like, what is that number? We'd like to see it
Right.
because you're all kind of similar. And everybody went back, but the one that was the lowest, I said, I'll send you back for sure, but I'm going to be honest with you. You're nowhere near. And he's like, oh, well, and like his reasoning behind the price that they gave,
Those are always interesting.
I thought, so you're just going to like slash the price because you think all those others, like it just didn't make sense to the value.
Mhm.
So I said,
Maybe they thought that it was the market that it was, honestly, like 2 months ago.
Some people
I
have
think
right?
even in
Some
a
people are
week.
still
It
there.
took a week. I think it was like I was watching this one building very closely, and I know it really well. So the week leading up to it, I was seeing the sale prices, or 10 days leading up to it, and I thought, oh my goodness, like I am so off right now. Like I am not gonna. I overpromised, and I am so gonna under deliver. And I thought I was being conservative when but people, once I found that once people saw that the market was moving again, a couple of those sellers were just like, I just need to sell.
Yeah.
And they were like, a 2-week closing, a month closing. Okay, we'll take it.
What
This
was their
works.
expectations? What were the sellers' expectations when going into listing their home in this market?
We were on 15 grand apart between what I told them and what they said.
That's good.
And I said, okay, well, we're not like, it wasn't a situation where we had time on our hands. We didn't have a ticking clock behind us. They're savvy sellers. It's not their first rodeo. So they said, look, we were going to go in at like what we wanted. And then I thought, well, maybe it's going to confuse the buyer pool right now if we do a different type of pricing strategy than the other listings that were on the market.
Right.
And you know what? We don't sell until the offer date. And that's the one thing that was seems a little difficult for some sellers, where they see activity and they see that, they want it to sell really quickly. So they get excited about a bully offer, and it's like, okay, well, and then that's kind of what happened with these sales. So I said, let's not do that and let's just wait. And we did. And
Nice.
we came out between the first sale that was like a fire sale to us, it was like a $70,000 difference.
Which is huge.
Which was market value. We sold for market value. We were just really stumped on what the other two sales had done.
That's
So-
the thing, though. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I'm just interjecting because I actually want, and I think people want to know the numbers. What were the numbers? What did you list at, and what did you end up getting?
We listed $799 and we got $870.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. And that was for a 2-bed?
A 2-bed, 2-bathroom, parking in Leslieville.
In Leslieville. That's amazing. 2-bed, 2 parking. 2-bed, 2 parking?
Sorry, 2-bed, 2-bathroom.
2-bath,
One parking.
One
One
parking.
parking, yes.
870 Leslieville.
So
that's
like
awesome.
1,160 a square foot.
That's
Very
awesome.
nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so when I went into it, I did the math and it was like 1,125 a square foot. So I felt really good when we walked out of there. And there was conversations that with Power on the other side was saying like, look, like we're not unrealistic. We just want a number that makes sense to my sellers. And every buyer that I had, I was like, look, we know that this isn't the end for this building. Like price per square foot is going to continue to rise. So whoever buys this unit is not going to be like in 5 years from now is going to be happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of the environment I've been feeling. And even with buyers, like you have to be prepared at the offer table.
I would say that's the biggest thing we're noticing right now in the conversations. You have to be very, very clear and firm when you're working with the buyers. I know Jen's got a handful on the go. I just did some consults last night. And driving home that point of you need to be prepared, you need to be organized, and you need to be ready to move and move with confidence, because that's the only way you're getting things done right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, so I have been out there. I've been out there in the last couple of weeks with some buyers, a few buyers, and it's been the same story over and over again. It is completely the return of multiple offers. This is not, February's market where we're like, oh, can we get a deal? Can we offer less than? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we have our closing? What about a home inspection? It's not there anymore. And we've unfortunately learned, not even the hard way, like we started out, with a couple of them learning the hard way in the beginning, kind of being that, we were your lowest offer. We didn't have the deposit check because they were like, oh, well, why do we need this? Do we need this? Do we not need this? And then the thing is that you have to let clients do their own, like feel their own feels after they've offered something and lost in order for them to come back the next time stronger or be different, because they just don't know what they just don't know. Some people think that, it's funny with real estate, for whatever reason, it's not like being, a medical doctor or a dentist or something where they just automatically trust you. Realtors in general are, I don't know what it is about us, but they don't seem to trust us. Or
the opposite. They distrust us usually.
Yeah, no, exactly.
At first.
It seems to be like, whatever they have in the back of their brain, or whatever someone has told them previously, like, oh no, you can do it like this, or you can offer like this. This is how you go about doing it. It's there until like you have to earn their trust.
Yes.
You have to earn it and be like, okay, no problem. Let's do it your way. Let's offer in the case of a multiple, if it's listed at, say, for example, $1 million, let's offer $1 million and see what happens. Sure, let's do it. And once that happens once, and then it happens a second time and a third time, that's when they get the gist. They're like, okay, maybe my strategy is not working, and maybe I should be listening to my realtor. After all, we are, in the data. We, we're in there. We're in there day in and day out, and we see it, and we're doing this constantly. So it's a good idea to maybe
where you
trust
see
us.
the value too. Like, okay, maybe it's not exactly like the one house that sold, let's say last week, but then you've seen all these other, another 5 homes that have sold in that week. And then you're like, okay, well, the value, now I can see why someone would pay it. Yes, it's not exactly the same as the last sale, but I can see why someone would pay this price for this home.
For sure.
And what's happened is, more often than not, because the market has picked up, like to your point, honestly, I've seen it in the last few weeks really, really ramp up.
Well, I heard a stat that it's since January, it's increased 11%.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And so, how can I say this? So a month ago, the offers that we were putting in, if they would lose to somebody that was higher, there was no comp that was that higher comp. So they're like, why would I pay, 1.2 if this last house only sold for 1.1 back in January? And now it's like, it's because we're going back up. We're not on that downward trajectory. We are going upwards. And so each sale now is kind of outperforming the last sale.
Yeah.
So
100%.
now that we have those comps over the last couple of weeks that have been strong, that's when people have kind of come around and been like, oh, okay, so if a house is listed at $899 and it's detached in Toronto, it's likely not going to go for $950 the way a comp in October 2022 would have. It's going to go for what a comp last week would have gone for.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example because I like throwing out numbers. There was a home where exactly that situation happened. It was listed at $899 and my buyers wanted to go in. They're like, okay, we can do $950. And the comps supported that. The comps from last couple of months. And then I talked to the agent, and the agent was like, we are just getting blown out of the water. Obviously, they're not going to tell me what the price is, but afterwards we had a conversation, and she was just like, the people who came to play at this offer situation just completely blew it away. We lost, by the way. We lost.
Really?
We offered $950 and we lost. But it completely blew away the competition. It was a little bungalow in Scarborough, and it sold for 1.2. Whew. No, like it doesn't make any sense when you look at the old comparables. But if you look at the comparables from, early 2022, it does make sense.
For sure.
Oh my goodness,
right?
I had a bungalow in Scarborough that during the craziness of like the rate hikes, it was great. But if it was any other market, it would have been off the shelves. But because people were just like looky-loos, they'd come in and be like, okay, well, I'll be back later. And it was such a different environment. It's so crazy. It's so bipolar the way people's mentality has shifted so quickly.
I think just to go back to Jen, you mentioned the distrust and then also keeping up with the market right now and how difficult that is for buyers to wrap their heads around. We understand how fast things can change from week to week. But I think we also need to remember that a lot of that comes from the media, and their cycle is like at least a month behind what we're actually seeing in the market, and they trust the news more than they trust us.
10,000%. They see the news and they're like, oh, well, it's down, But then it's like a herd mentality. Once they all get on board, they all get on board. And they're all of a sudden recognizing. Exactly. They're like, oh my God.
FOMO's real in the
if I
Toronto
don't
real
do
estate
it,
market.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to miss out. And then as soon as they all go away, they're all go, oh, no, it's not the time now, right?
Everybody told me it's not the time, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in November, when I was calling buyers and saying like, this is the time, they were all like, no, Christmas is coming. We're going to wait until the new year. And then everybody has the same speech. Everybody has the same, like, we're exhausted. We're just going to wait until the new year. And then everybody kind of has that refresh of life.
Yeah.
And especially as the spring starts to happen.
Yeah,
Totally.
for sure. So now we are definitely, going back to my buyers, we are definitely prepared when it comes to having the deposit check ready, because that is just, it's so paramount. It seems small, in the time, and it seems like a waste of time to go to the bank and do this just to have to go back and return it if you don't win. But the credibility that you have in handing over that deposit check, obviously with a good offer alongside that, a nice firm one, really stands out above the rest.
Yeah. Because if a listing agent is preparing a home inspection, preparing all these things and an offer night, their expectations and their clients' expectations is that everybody has done their due diligence before they came here, and that includes the check.
Yeah.
They are ready. Like, they've cleared their schedule to buy this house, and that's kind of the vibe that feels like offer nights.
One more thing that I did want to note was it's really lovely when we do multiple offers. I feel like agents in the city of Toronto really get it, and they have home inspections prepared and ready. Like, hey, I've got a home inspection ready to go. Let me know if you need to see it. And then they send it off, and that makes it so much easier for us on the buying side to go in firm. I mean, honestly, who wants to advise their client? I'm never going to advise a client, go ahead, blindly without doing some kind of due diligence to make sure the house is not going to fall apart. But then in more like suburbia, just kind of like surrounding areas of the GTA, I find that agents, they'll do the multiple offers.
No inspections.
Zero home inspections.
Because they think the houses are young enough that they don't need them.
It's also it's just not the norm.
It's just not the norm. It's not even like there are some older houses out there that they'll just be like, oh, no, that's, if you want to come by today for an hour with your Uncle Bob. I'm sorry, I keep saying Uncle Bob, but like, with anybody, you can do that. But for whatever reason, Toronto agents, they've got it down packed. They know you need a deposit. They know you need the home inspection, all of that kind of stuff. But out there, I don't know.
It's different.
I think it will come. I think as the inventory and the product gets more expensive, it will become more of an expectation. Like, you're wanting me to spend $1 million on this townhome. Where's your home? It's like 20 years old. Where's your home inspection?
I think it also stems from, obviously, when you're in like core Toronto, and it depends on the market, of course, but multiple offers, when we're out in further areas, it'll be maybe you get, 5 offers, whereas like you might get 50 downtown, and things are just that extra bit more competitive. So they just need to tighten things up even more. So I think it'll depend how the market skews. If it stays this competitive, I think it'll catch on. If things chill out a little bit and we're not as in multiples as often, then that might, who knows.
And also, if you are selling a condo, I mean, hey,
Status.
You tell me. I don't want to say anything, but like, did you have your status ready to go that you sent
yeah,
up?
it's ready.
Do you know how many? Do you know how many offer situations I've been in where there's no status?
It just makes no sense.
How do you want me to give you a firm offer if I don't know what your reserve fund looks like?
That's impossible.
Oh, I can't even believe that the only person I can't believe that would be expected.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Always order your status.
Yeah,
Always.
because there's stuff in there that even after we're sold, like even recently with another sale I had was, we sold and we were good. And then the property management came back and was like, oh, the fees are going up. And you're like, oh shit. Like, thank God I had we were ready to go, because I don't want to take on that responsibility of, disclosure. Like, I didn't even know that this was happening.
Right.
But, just having it ready, having someone like being able to review it and have their lawyer review it, at least you're not going to have any issues before closing.
For sure. I had a situation where I had clients that were looking in the same kind of like pod of buildings. They were all developed at the same time. There were about 4 to 5 different buildings. And so we had seen the status over the course of time on a bunch of them. And one just like didn't end up having a good status certificate or whatnot. And they need the parking garage needs to be repaired and all of that kind of stuff. If you were to go on the assumption that like, because the 3 are good, they have a reserve fund, nothing's happening, and you don't go and look at that 4th one, you go and buy one blindly in there, I mean, you're in for a lot of trouble there, right?
Definitely.
It's just it's buyer beware. And I don't think buyers sometimes actually
assume anything.
No, and don't understand the ramifications of not having that reviewed sometimes.
I was going to say too, I think obviously it's our job as agents to teach our clients how important that is, but a lot of buyers don't know what a status certificate is, don't know they need it, don't know a lawyer should look it over, don't know how it works. So when I say, do you know what a status certificate is? They don't know. And at that time, they don't even care, because why no one's told them they have to care.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or I've reviewed the status review. I'm like, are you crazy?
Do you know what that means?
We're sending it to your lawyer. I do not know. Yeah, I look and I see what I need to see, but it's a lawyer's responsibility.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're not lawyers. We can look and we can give like a brief synopsis, but we're not the ones to break it down, for sure.
So Kelly, you're getting your house ready.
You have something very, very pretty that's
for sale right now.
I am now the crazy client. I am the seller, which is always eventful. And as you guys just mentioned, we're in a low inventory market. Things are moving fast. Buyers are out there. So yeah, to be honest, I think it was like exactly 2 weeks ago, my husband and I had a phone call and we're like, should we sell our house? And we're like, yeah, I think we should. So I was like, okay, cool. You have a week. We need new counters. We need to paint the entire 2,000 square foot house. We need new light fixtures. We need to replace glass and windows. We need to do everything. So, 16-hour days for the last week and a half, but we are
Miss
live.
Vicky's help.
Yeah, my diet when we're in renos is like a very different. There is no juice or salad. It is pizza, burgers,
Right
chips.
on.
I'm a different person.
I love that vibe.
I drive the van around. I have like an alter ego. It's a whole thing. But
Plaid.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've talked to a few people and they're like, I don't understand why you rushed. I don't understand why you think it's so important for the time. And at the end of the day, it may not make a difference. The market may stay this way for a month, but like we have seen it with clients where we say, please do your best, get it done in a week, get it done in 2 weeks. The time matters sometimes more than those extra little bits. And unfortunately, we have seen listings lose out on $100,000, $200,000 because the market can change that much with one bad comp, one good comp.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? So a couple people think we're fully crazy, but I just knew that we want to try and capture the market where it is right now. So we hauled ass for sure.
Amazing. It looks beautiful. It looks so good
you.
online.
It is the most charming country vibe, yet modern and beautiful little home that it's not even little. It's not little. Her
It's
home
deceiving.
has a second set of like mini stairs that go up from the kitchen. It is just the cutest little, quirkiest little
It's
home.
got some quirks for sure.
I love that. They don't, it's not cookie cutter at all.
No, and that's why we loved it. And I also know, obviously, again, we're further out. You're dealing with a century home. Not everyone's the buyer for that. And there's definitely, different elements than if you're just buying a condo. So it's a different sale. And again, we're in a very like niche little pocket of Uxbridge. So we're a little rural.
So when you bought it, what did you love about it?
Honestly, I'm crazy. I walked in and I was like, oh my God, the energy, the details, like the wood, the moldings, like in its day, it was definitely a grand home. The gentleman who had it commissioned was the guy who owned all of the businesses in the little town at the time. So like it was very grand. They did have like help that used the special little stairs and everything.
We have a butler pantry.
Butler pantry.
So cute.
It felt grand but cozy all at the same time. And I literally just started crying. I was like, it's just such a nice house.
That butler's pantry, sorry, I have to jump in. It's like, it just reminds me of like something that should be in Martha's Vineyard. It has this like
so
Cape
funny.
Cod kind of feel with big, beautiful windows. And she has, is it 10-foot ceilings?
Honestly, because it's an old house, things aren't fully level. So between 9 and 10.
It feels very, very grand when you're in there. Lots of windows and lots of charm. So
Yeah,
I feel like Martha Stewart could just like, you could just like get it on in there.
Get it off.
I mean, Martha Stewart vibes, baking, cooking, all of that kind of stuff. Get your mind out of
No,
it.
I'm so sorry. It's definitely a very charming home. So
I
yeah.
don't want to think about Martha Stewart getting it on.
Just getting it on with the dough, people. The dough.
Okay.
Okay,
Anywho.
going back.
So we're listing.
I love that.
We underpriced. We have an offer date, and we'll see what's up. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, I feel humbled by the experience. As always, every time we buy or sell, I feel for all of our clients in a major way.
Yeah.
When we walk in as the professional and we have our little clipboards, I'm like, okay, so if you could just do some fresh paint everywhere and new light fixtures, it's a lot.
Mhm.
It's a lot. Once you actually get into it, it's exhausting. It's a lot of work. You and your spouse want to murder each other daily. It's fun
for
times.
sure. And it's like, is it really that important? Yes.
Well,
it
that's
is.
the thing. It's you also have to identify, those thresholds of what matters and what doesn't. And then again, if it's not just you, you have to make sure you get the other person on board or just yell at them until they comply and, make it work.
So bringing it back to the whole multiple offer situation. So you've heard it from me being a buyer and Christina just having sold something. What is your strategy when it comes to selling your home?
So I will say, again, we're in a very niche pocket. It's a bit of a unique home. We don't have direct comps. So that's one of the biggest things that's a little bit tougher is it's not a condo where I can say the unit down the hall sold 3 weeks ago for X amount. That's our expectation and that's how we're going to work. So that's obviously the market is an indicator as to why we went for the multiple offer route or the offer date route, hoping for multiple offers, but also because I can't actually tell you what it's worth today. I could tell you what I want as the seller or give you an idea of what I've seen looking over the past few months. But at the end of the day, we all know that a home is worth what a buyer is willing to pay. So we felt, if we price it sharply, the market's going to tell us. We're not looking to be greedy. People always think because you have an offer date, you think you're going to get crazy money. No, we're realistic. We're just open to the buyers telling us what they feel the home is worth at this time. So
Awesome. I
we'll
love
find
that.
out.
I love that.
I can't wait for you to tell me all about selling your own home and how it feels being on that side with negotiating offers.
It's
and stuff.
always interesting. This is our third personal residence that we're selling. And every experience has been very different markets. Like we sold our condo in COVID, but before things got hot. And I was just so nervous that we would even sell it that I think we took our first offer and we were just grateful and excited. And we're like, we did it. We sold it. Okay, awesome. So this is definitely a bit of a different experience. And like we've had tenants previously while selling. So it's always different. This one is definitely the most exciting and nerve-wracking all at once because it was a fun project and we love the house. But I'm the craziest seller there is for sure.
I can't wait to circle back and see how this all went because, I've personally sold a home before as well, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. Like I small potatoes here, but when I sold a very, very long time ago, or not a very long time ago, it wasn't ancient, but like it was like 10 years ago. Anyways, we sold in multiples, ironically. Yeah, there was only, I think, 3 offers, but we sold in multiples at the time, and everything was great. There was no problem, except I did the unthinkable.
Oh,
the
boy.
Absolute unthinkable. I had a bathroom in the basement that had this beautiful mirror. And it was a mirror that I had bought from the States. And I was like, oh, I want to take that. I'm a total noob.
You took the mirror.
Stop. I'm a noob. I didn't know. I honestly blame it. I was, I think, a year licensed, and I was like, big deal. It's a basement bathroom. They can find their own mirror. It wasn't one of those ones that was glued. It was a pretty one, And I forget where I got it. It was like Z Gallery, which isn't even that amazing.
You were that seller that got in a debacle over stealing your own mirror.
I got into a damn fierce debacle because I was like staunchly like, I am right. Like I this is my mirror. I bought it. And anyways, I was that person. And then the agent on the other side was like, he was also a noob. So what made it awesome for him was that, or terrible for me, but was that he was in it to win it.
Oh, yeah.
Like with his clients, he had to prove himself. So he came after me. He came after my broker. He was going to call Rico. I was like,
over a mirror?
Over a mirror. And so I said, fine. And I gave him a gift card because I want my mirror.
I was going to say, did you give him the mirror or a different mirror?
Here is a gift card. Okay, guys. So straight up, I bought this thing for like $150 at Z Gallery. And the US, Canadian, it was in the US, by the way, okay? And so anyways, whatever it was, it worked out at that time to like, I don't know, $100 Canadian. I'm probably fudging on the numbers a bit, but whatever. He was like, nope, that's not the value of it today. And so he went back and he actually found it wherever it was that I had bought it. And he was like, that's not enough. You need to bring more.
Wow.
Anyways, and so then after all of it, like back then,
especially
honestly,
because you really want this mirror, you're not getting me away with $100.
Well, you also once you challenge Jen, now she's not backing down. She's going for the mirror.
I want my damn mirror. But looking back, retrospect is hindsight is 2020. At the end of the day, guys, I could easily buy a new mirror. If it was like an heirloom piece or something like that, I can understand. But I was in it to win it just because, like you're not going to take my damn mirror. But anyways. So keep everybody, if you have a mirror in your bathroom, make sure it stays there upon closing.
Or you add it as an exclusion.
Exactly, upon listing. So that was my like lovely little like seller story. So my broker was like, just give them the mirror or give them the money. End of story. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I gave them the money and I got the mirror.
There you go. I'm really proud of you.
Do you still use
mirror.
it?
No, man, I gave it away.
I was going to say,
I gave it away. It wasn't worth it. So, guys, honestly, again, I say this all the time. If it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't let it matter for 5 years.
I heard a good phrase the other day. It was actually from a realtor, and they were talking about deals. And as a realtor, like, there's obviously ups and downs, and there's hard moments, and losing deals, and losing offers, and clients yelling at you. 5-second funeral. You have 5 seconds to care about it, and then you move on.
Yeah.
I actually heard
I need to think about that more often now.
5-second funeral.
Yeah.
I was going to say something completely unreal estate related, so I don't know if we should continue on this. But like, does anybody follow Mel Robbins?
No.
She's like a motivational speaker.
I've seen clips of hers.
Okay, she's so cute, and I just noticed her, and I'm sure she's been around for a while, but I just noticed her, and she has this thing: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it. 5, 4. When you have to like make a decision.
That's like Brian Serhan. He does 3, 2, 1, go or whatever.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, go.
But it's something like I don't know. They do it in like for mental health, for PTSD, for people who like need to just like make action happen. And I don't know. I don't know
like
how
it.
this relates to anything real estate, but just because we were talking about fives, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
But the key in real estate is to take action.
Sell the mirror, sell
yeah.
the house, buy the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Buy the house and wait.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. That's the key.
I always, my thing to rationalize my thoughts sometimes is just like one small decision before the next. Like,
Yeah.
just make one small decision and things just keep moving. And like when I had to make big career choices, it was, okay, I made, like even moving to Rare was like a big deal for me. So it was, okay, in my mind, December 1st, made that decision. And then after that, it was just like, okay, I'm doing this. One decision, one small decision after the next. And then now I can't even believe it wasn't a huge deal, but in my mind, you know, the build up to doing it was like, oh, why did you make it such a big deal? So now even thinking like other career moves in my life, it's like it'll be all okay. Like it will be okay. Like you'll get through it. Like sometimes it's just you build it up in your head more than you need to.
See, but you have a process. You're like organized about it. I feel like I'm like a little bit chaotic when it comes. I'm like, yeah, decision. Let's go. Done. See what happens.
Oh, yeah. I'm a little more
I
methodical.
love that about you, though. Like that's I'm an overthinker. I'm a chronic overthinker, and so it takes me a really long time to make a decision.
We're opposites though. So Jen will be like the idea queen. She'll be like, I think we should do this. This is awesome. And at first I'll be like, okay, let me think about it for a minute.
Mhm.
And then I'll go to think, I'll come back. I'll be like, yeah, let's do it. I'm on. She's like, ooh, okay, well,
Yeah,
let me think about it.
I haven't had time to process this. Oh no, you know. So
It's funny
yeah.
how we decide to do things and move forward. But I was having that conversation with someone the other day about indecision and how indecisive most people are, and how even if you make the wrong decision, you got to just make a decision and move forward, because that's how you make things happen.
Oh, for sure. And you
Even
don't
in
even
real
know what the
estate.
outcome would be if you make the wrong decision. Maybe it will lead you somewhere where you didn't even know you were going.
the universe has your back.
Oh.
Trust in the journey. Breakthroughs are happening.
We've been into all sorts of
Mercury
astrological
retrograde is
things.
almost over.
Oh,
Thank
thank
the
goodness.
Lord. Oh my god.
The eclipse happened.
The eclipse killed me.
Oh,
Just
I
gonna
was
throw that out
feeling,
there.
I was feeling a little like, yeah, I feel much better. Even the next day, I was like, oh, I'm feeling like
Honestly, I know people think
excited
like
about the
it's
day.
very woo woo and whatever, but like even if it's placebo, like I vibe with it. It hypes me up when I feel like there's good things out there in the universe, the energy. I'm like, yeah, it's a good day. My
Something
horoscope
to
told
do.
me so.
For sure. I had a very delayed reaction to that eclipse. I had a mental breakdown probably about like 2 days ago. Let's just keep it real here. But now I feel very light. So it was a little bit delayed. But
well, it was in Scorpio.
I know. But
So-
so apparently though, May 16th is I don't know
day.
when this is going to come out, but May
day.
16th is the day that Jupiter,
Jupiter is entering.
the planet of luck, is entering
My
the
horoscope
signs.
has been telling me since January. I'm ready to pop off. I'm so excited for May 16th.
I don't know what's happening May 16th, but God help me. I hope that it's a fantastic day, because otherwise I will be so let down.
Yeah, because Scorpio and Taurus, something's going on with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something
Okay,
happening right now.
well,
Anyways,
let's
back
just
to
say-
real estate.
Hold on a second. It's not just a day, though. It's a year.
it's a year-long
It's a transit. Okay. All right. We're astrologers here, not just realtors.
We are bringing on a really exciting guest soon, and we won't give too much away, but we're going to be getting into some of this, and I'm so excited.
I am so stoked for that episode, guys. Like, you have no idea who we've got coming on here. Very exciting stuff.
I'm very excited to like, you know, because I think about that stuff. I think about energy. I think about putting that, you know, what you put into the universe. So someone that actually really uses that for their career is
100%.
I'm very interested.
I love
can't
that.
wait. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, you know, I know we all say like realtors are not fortune tellers, but let's talk a little bit about, because our director of economics, Daniel Foch, put out a report for April that kind of discussed what was happening right now. So we're talking about multiple offers. We're talking about what's going on. It's very unexpected. So everybody kind of thought there was going to be a return to seasonality and that, you know, things were going to go up and then they were going to come back down. But it seems like we're ramping up. But then on the flip side, everyone's talking about recession and whatnot. And his market report was very interesting. So
Very.
I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts. That's not proper grammar.
Your
or English.
guys's.
Your guys's. But what your thoughts are on how we feel the real estate market is going to trend coming into the summer months.
I think it's super interesting. I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions. And at the end of the day, I think we just need to focus on the market we're in and flow with it and just stay on top of the data and what's happening. Obviously, the seasonality is not here right now. We don't have the inventory for it to be seasonal. You know, we're so low inventory for the spring market. Naturally, normally we'd be, you know, gearing down from the spring market right about now as we head towards mid-May, June. It's generally after the long weekend, things kind of slow down a little bit. So I don't know.
Like there's not that, you always feel at the end of February and March, it's just listings. Buzzing new listings every day. As we get into like May and April, you could post your house for sale, put it for multiples, and no one shows up. And then you have to relist it. And then, you know, you sell a little longer just because buyer fatigue starts to set in at that point too. Because if you think about it, a lot of these buyers probably started getting educated starting at the end of January, noticing that rates are not changing, and then took them a while to get into the market. And then maybe they spent the last 8 to 10 weeks trying to buy something.
That's the thing too.
They may take a break.
I was just going to say, I almost feel like perhaps we're in a delayed cycle. Like I almost feel like right now is what we should have been having in like January. So that makes me wonder, obviously summer vacations, realtors all peace out in August, you know, everyone's at camps and this and that. But I don't know. I feel like we're in a bit of a delay. So I don't know. Are we going to get some inventory this summer? Is everyone just going to hang tight? It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out because it's different.
Especially because this year, though, you know, I think so too.
I think all these people that are they're moving on the sidelines, they're coming to the market now.
Because I think that for the last couple of years post-COVID, everybody would get excited for the summer. Like, oh my God, I can get out. I can go here. I can go to Europe. I can go to Prince Edward County, Muskoka, wherever you guys want to go and do those vacations. Whereas now we do have a little bit of an economic change, potential recession looming. Interest rates have made, you know, mortgage payments a lot higher. So maybe people aren't vacationing so much.
Yeah.
Which means that they're in town to sell and buy real estate. I don't know. I would hope for a return to a quiet summer. That's just me personally because I want to buy some things, but I don't see that happening. I feel like summer, everyone's going to get kind of excited the same way Kelly, you did, and are like, you know,
I can't move as quickly as you.
I do concur. Yeah, I was going to say again. I feel like the media cycle and almost the buyer education cycle, seller education cycle tends to be a little further behind the things that we're seeing, or it takes them a minute to understand what we're saying or get the work done. So yeah, it might be a little delayed. They might see, okay, yeah, there is low inventory. Maybe now's a good time, but will it take them a month or 2 months before that actually comes? But because of the seasonality of the summer, it's just hard to say. I don't necessarily know that it's going to be insanity, but maybe it'll just stay active.
For sure. One thing I am noticing that is real, that I have been having conversations with past clients that maybe bought in 2019 or 2018, and their rates are their renewals are coming up.
Yeah.
And they're at a crossroad right now. So I am having those conversations with them because, you know, their rate could be double of what they're paying right now. And they have kids, they have lines of credits, they have cars. They've been living in a lifestyle with a rate of 3% or less. And the reality is really settling in. So I would like to see if my clients are calling up and having those conversations with me, then I'm sure lots of realtors are having those conversations. So if all of us are having like a couple listings coming out because of those situations, I wonder if we're going to have way too much. Or people are going to be expecting like what it could happen as well. Like maybe there's too many houses at one time and it's not a good time because all the buyers are on vacation, or it's August or September.
I find it so hard to believe we could have too many houses right now because there's just so many. I don't know. I'm super curious though to see, because I agree there will be activity, but how much activity at the end of the day? Because I think people who, unless you're in a position where, you know, maybe you need to make a change to be more comfortable, I don't think people are jumping at the bit to sell, especially because they don't want to sell if they are in a good interest rate and go take on a higher interest rate if they're purchasing something else. So I think unless circumstances are, you know, putting them in a position where they need or want to move, I don't think people are moving just for fun right now, per se.
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of people see the opportunity, and we're sitting on the sidelines at the end of like from when the rate started to go up.
Speaking of opportunity, we've had some new talks about multiplexes and unit adding and laneways, and guys, I know this hypes you up.
This totally hypes me up. So very exciting news this week. Multiplexes up to 4 units in a home in the city of Toronto is now allowed. I don't know all of the details. I don't have it in front of me to go ahead and explain it, but just overall, what an exciting thing to happen
Huge.
for the city of Toronto. I know that, rental rates like leases have been popping
Crazy.
off, absolutely popping
Leases
off.
are so competitive right
I
now.
have two with another one coming right now, and the prices for these leases is quite insane. So I do know that there is a missing middle. There is a lack of, just kind of that middle housing space for people who need to rent their home versus purchase their home. So I don't know where I was going with that, but basically,
yes to more
yes
units.
to more units, yes to more units in a home. A very exciting thing that happened this week.
I think, as it gets more expensive and maybe two families can live on one property, they buy one property, they build a house in the back for parents. It's a conversation I have constantly now with clients. Like if we see a laneway at the back, can we put a laneway house here? Could it be beneficial? Could it be profitable? And for sure it is. Like whoever, more units, more people contributing to the mortgage, paying it down, and like
For sure.
I don't know if it makes a lot of sense. I still need to figure out and like run the numbers on how it makes sense from an investment standpoint. You really have to obviously buy right in order for that to all make sense. But if you are, I've noticed more and more multi-generational buyers and sellers as well. But a lot of buyers, a lot of people coming together to pool their money and live together because house prices have become so high in the GTA. So I think this is really exciting news for them and what's possible for how you can live in the city of Toronto. Right?
I love that. I actually had a buyer consult last night, and she had lived in Dubai and India and all these different places. And she talked about housing here and how stringent it is in like the way that we look at housing and how there's so many different, unique ways to live in different styles of housing. And she's like, what? The buildings here are just so boring. Like we would have multi-generational families just living on like floors of buildings, multiple units of buildings, like just very different styles. And I would love to see more of that here. I think that would be great for Toronto to have, some different opportunities for people to be able to spend time and live with their family comfortably.
Or sever land easier and say, okay, you own the house in the back and I own the house in the front. And it could be that middle ground where it's not.
And if that's the way
expensive.
we're going, like Toronto just being such a progressive city that it is, if that's the way that we're going, I'm so happy and encouraged by the fact that we are also growing our housing to add to the people and the immigration that are coming to this city from all kinds of different places and all different styles of living. And we are adapting to, being that melting pot is the wrong word perhaps, but
Cultural hub.
Cultural hub. So it's very encouraging and very, very exciting news.
100%.
So ladies, I think that is a wrap on the Rare Agent podcast today. For all of you listening, remember, we are going to have a very, very exciting podcast coming up. So be sure to tune in for the next one. But if you have any other questions for us in regards to multiple offers or anything that we've chatted about, multiplexes, Toronto being amazing, be sure to reach out to any one of us and
follow us at The Rare Agent on Instagram. Like, subscribe, leave us a review, and we'll talk to you next time.
thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.